CityCast Pittsburgh is supported today by the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Pittsburghers love this place, and I've actually never been, so it's definitely on my list to check out. There's history, there's artifacts like Michael Jackson's Thriller jacket, handwritten lyrics from the Beatles, Taylor Swift's piano, and right now they've also got a new exhibit on Saturday Night Live and their many talented musical guests. So you can see stuff from their skits and performances, and apparently it's the only place you can see SNL's entire performance archive. Check out the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame to learn more about the music that connects us all. For more information, go to rockhall.com/exhibitions/SNL-50-years-music. Today on CityCast Pittsburgh, there was a really big explosion yesterday at Clairton Coke Works. It's part of U.S. Steel, and initially it really wasn't clear what was going on. We're talking about what we know and what we are still hoping to find out. ICE raids have been picking up here in the Pittsburgh region. There were a pair of them at a really popular restaurant chain over the weekend. I know it feels bleak right now, but there are ways that you can help. And we'll end with some good news. We are celebrating because there is one thing that we think Pittsburgh surprisingly does really, really well. It's Tuesday, August 12th. I'm Megan Harris, and here's what Pittsburgh's talking about. I am with Mallory Falk, the CityCast Pittsburgh team's executive producer. Welcome back to town, dude.
Yeah, I was on vacation and came back to some pretty grim headlines here.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that on behalf of all of Pittsburgh, but we're going to jump right into one of them. So we are talking about Clairton. As of this recording, we know a lot of people have been hurt in an explosion over there. At least one person has died. There are still search and rescue operations going on. Elected leaders are in town, and there's a gaping hole in a major steelmaking facility.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen pictures of this explosion, but as soon as I saw them, it was just very clear that this was not going to be good. It just looks very dramatic.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, I think KDKA was sharing a photo that they were saying someone took inside the facility, and it's just there are no walls. There's so much is missing. Things are collapsed. There's debris everywhere. And the Breathe Project, which is a big thing here in Pittsburgh. If you're not familiar, they have air quality monitors all over the county to help us know if there's pollution in our area.
And there usually is.
There usually is. And there are a ton of them by this Clairton Coke Works plant. They had a camera pointed directly at this exact spot, and you can see this huge black plume coming up.
Yeah, it's all really harrowing. And I mean, just to back up, let's talk a little bit about what this place actually does. So it is actually the largest Coke manufacturing plant in North America, and it converts coal to Coke. That's one ingredient in the steelmaking process.
Correct. So Coke, you can think of it as one part fuel, heat source in that process. But it's also chemically necessary to keep the whole witch's brew of it all kind of flowing the way it's supposed to. I'm vastly oversimplifying. But the facility itself has about 1,400 workers. So a lot of people on a really big piece of land.
Yeah, and Clairton itself, it's this teeny town about 40 minutes southwest of downtown Pittsburgh. If you follow the Monongahela River, you will end up there.
Yeah, the town itself, founded in 1903. I believe the Clairton Coke Works, or its precursor, was founded in 1901. So, the town was built because of steel and coke. The population peaked in the 1950s. It was around 20,000 people. Now it's closer to about 6,000.
So kind of what's happened here in Pittsburgh, but on a much smaller scale.
Yeah, and a lot of these little communities like Braddock, for example, as goes steel, as goes the rest of us, right?
Right.
There's now, I mean, if you look around at even just Google Maps, but I've driven through the community myself too not long ago. There's not a ton there. There's a few small businesses, a lot of residences still, a really fantastic storied high school football team. The football arena is the place on Friday night. But there's also this Coke plant, which in addition to being North America's largest Coke producer, it is also the nation's biggest air polluter, or one of them. It's top 5, top 10 every single year.
Yeah. And, we've talked a lot on this show about Nippon Steel buying U.S. Steel. And part of why some people were really excited about this purchase was because Nippon promised to clean up and modernize the facility. And so there's been some hope that maybe some of the pollution might stop as, billions of dollars in upgrades get put into this facility.
Yeah. And I mean, that Nippon Steel, they have not been specific about where that money's going to flow, right? U.S. Steel has facilities all over Western Pennsylvania and in other states. But the hope was that some of it could stay here in Pittsburgh. That sale just went through this summer after years of pushing for it. You got to wonder how Nippon's doing today, whether they're feeling any buyer's remorse. They're not even top 5 on my list of concerns, but I do wonder what the calls were like this morning.
But also, if the sale hadn't yet gone through, I wonder if this would have been more fuel to advocate for it. Another reminder of how much these facilities need work.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. So we'll talk a little bit about the explosion itself. So the first disaster calls came in at about 10:50 in the morning Monday. Lots of people responded, police, fire, EMS from all over Allegheny County and beyond. Lots of people were taken to area hospitals. If you looked at any of the live coverage, AHN vans were on site, and I believe a couple people went to UPMC Mercy. Mm-hmm. There were a few folks initially missing, and it wasn't initially clear how many explosions there were. I kept seeing explosions, plural, on my television screen. Senator John Fetterman lives nearby. He's in Braddock, also beside a steelmaking facility there. He was on site almost immediately. We had lots of friends that were down there, covering it for various news organizations. And Fetterman spoke to reporters. He's the first person I heard say that someone had died on site, and lots of elected officials showed up after that. So Lieutenant Governor Austin Davis, who is from McKeesport, another Mon Valley town, our county executive, Sarah Innamorato, and then all those organizations that responded. I think they said there were 20 EMS organizations, 14 fire departments, real all hands on deck situation.
Yeah, so they had a press conference in the afternoon providing updates. One of the people who spoke was Scott Bacaizo. He's the senior VP for U.S. Steel's North American division.
Our hearts go out to our employees. Safety is our number one priority every day, every shift, 365. So obviously this is a tragedy that we want to understand. We're under the investigation, and we will continue to work not only with the folks behind me, but the families of those that have been affected. Our hearts go out to them, our employees. We have an employee assistance program that we have set up at the local union hall for anybody that wants to stop in and talk to anybody there as well.
So just to reiterate, as of this recording, one explosion at Clairton Coke Works. It is considered a mass casualty incident. And while that language is very scary, mostly it's just a distinction that allows smaller municipalities to get help from all over the place.
Yeah, casualties can mean death, but can also mean injuries, just people that need medical assistance.
Yeah, my brain forgets that literally every time this comes up, just because it sounds so scary. And then one person, again, as we're recording, still missing. I really hope that they are found safe and are able to get some medical care by the time you're hearing this. Plus 10 injuries, and one person has unfortunately died.
And as of this recording, it's not immediately clear what caused the explosion. That at least hasn't been shared publicly. This is an active investigation. The CEO of U.S. Steel said the company is working with local authorities to investigate. And an environmental group here has also called for an independent investigation. So we'll see where that goes.
It sounds like everybody's at least game to have different folks coming in and figuring out what went wrong here. The folks at U.S. Steel say that the rest of the plant is stable. The affected part has been at least temporarily shut down. I don't know how you continue operations given the state of things, if you just look at the images. But I guess that brings us to what you need to know today. So if you want to read up, Public Source has had some pretty detailed stories up today about Clairton's history with problems, with shutdowns, with polluting, and with incidents like this that cause problems for months and years to come. I have not heard anything as of right now about any kind of air quality issues, no dangers. They said that, they've been monitoring all the monitors and nothing so far.
Yeah, and I should say, is our county executive, Sarah Enamorado. This isn't just taking U.S. Steel's word for it.
Correct, yeah. So they tap into the Breathe Project's data and things like that. But that said, if you live in the Mon Valley, they did suggest just checking your air conditioner. If you're worried about it, set it to recirculate so you're not drawing in outside air. And if you're closer to the plant itself, within a mile, out of an abundance of caution, just stay indoors, no exhaust fans, no opening and closing your doors. If you live near Clairton, these are instructions that you have heard before.
Yeah, and obviously we're going to stay on top of this story as we learn more. So you can always turn to our Hey Pittsburgh newsletter. We're going to be keeping that updated, and I'm sure we will be talking about this in future episodes.
Today's show is brought to you by Overlook Maps. If you need an easier way to remember that amazing little cafe you found last summer or a perfect hiking spot that your friend told you about, I have good news for you. With Overlook Maps, special places never get lost again. You can create personal lists of places you've been or want to go. Build your must-visit list for your next vacation, your favorite restaurants for nights out, or your getaway ideas when you need to escape. I have personally been DIYing this exact thing since I was in college using Google Maps, and y'all, that is not what Google is best at. My lists are kind of a mess, completely dependent on the notes I did or did not remember to write down at the time, and until now, it was my only way to record all the cool things I had done or wanted to do. I am so excited because Overlook Maps has solved for something I have wanted in my life for years. It's a way to remember, to categorize, to find the best spots for me and my crew, because they have so many curated layers that you can check out, from Michelin guides to the New York Times and eater recommendations. You can even make your own private lists, keep your own secrets, or share with friends and collaborate about the places that you are most excited to check out as a group. You can even put in food preferences, and Overlook Maps will make the recommendations. And they have a routing feature that will tell you where you can eat in the direction that you are already headed. I have been begging the universe for this thing for so long, and Overlook Maps has delivered. Icing on the cake, there are no ads. No one's selling your data to advertisers, just amazing spaces and places organized exactly how you want them. Overlook Maps. Collect, organize, and share the places that matter to you. Download it for free at overlookmaps.com and check out overlookmaps.com/Pittsburgh to see some of our favorite spots on a map and in your pocket. Your places, your way.
Got any fun trips coming up? One thing you probably haven't put on your packing list is learning the language. But with Babbel, you can start talking in just a few weeks. I'm David Plotz, the CEO of CityCast, and I've been learning Spanish with Babbel. And I also just persuaded my friend who's going to France this fall to learn French with Babbel, but that is another story. Babbel's extremely fun and intuitive. It's like having a private tutor in your pocket. Handcrafted by over 200 language experts, Babbel's lessons are voiced by real native speakers and built with science-backed cognitive tools and interactive features to fit any learning style. I love a lot of the different Babbel features. The Babbel games for sentence building, Babbel speech recognition, which helps me get the pronunciation right. And now I'm really into Babbel's word of the day, which greets me on the homepage of the app. Every day, a new word revealed like a little surprise, with a sentence to help contextualize it. It's like a daily treat for me. Studies from Yale, Michigan State, and other leading universities continue to prove that Babbel works. One study found that using Babbel for 15 hours is equivalent to a full semester at college. Look, I want you to learn another language. So I'm teaming up with Babbel to gift you 55% off subscriptions, but only for CityCast listeners at babbel.com/CityCast. Get up to 55% off at babbel.com/CityCast. Spelled BABBEL.com/CityCast. Babbel.com/CityCast. Rules and restrictions may apply.
So moving on, there have been a bunch of ICE raids in Pittsburgh lately, especially at our restaurants. In case you missed it, over the weekend, 16 people were detained at 2 different Emiliano's locations, one in Gibsonia, one in Cranberry. I feel like I see a headline. It seems like it's coming pretty constant now, Mallory. I don't know if that's your sense of this too. 12 people were taken several days ago now over in Ambridge. Local police were helping, and there has been video circulating of a uniformed officer doing what appears to be a Nazi salute in the video after being heckled.
That is really rough. I mean, all the imagery that's coming out of these restaurants and communities kind of being descended on are really scary and upsetting, but the Nazi salute just adds a whole nother layer.
Yeah. And then, of course, last month they hit Tepache over in Marshall Township, really close to that Cranberry line, but in Allegheny County. There have been others. By the numbers, we checked with our friends over at Casa San Jose. So in May, 158 calls is what they've received about sightings, detentions, immigration concerns. They tracked at least 23 people who were detained during that month. In June, that number shot up a lot. So 234 calls, and 14 people were detained. They have not yet released their July figures. I think they're still trying to square those. But just keep in mind when you hear numbers like this, like these are just the ones that have been reported. They always say like a whole lot more probably go unreported because people are just afraid.
Yeah, and a reminder, Casa San Jose is a nonprofit here that one of the things that they're doing is trying to track all of these ICE enforcement activities.
And I mean, gosh, what are they not doing, right? Mallory,
Yeah.
like we've talked to them in the past, like they're tracking these numbers. They're setting up rapid response teams for regular people to go and try to bear witness and document what's happening to folks. They're doing clinics. They're like hosting legal explainers. They're doing like their regular basic work of like helping kids pack their backpacks for back to school and like just so many things that are necessary to our community, but also like holding space for joy too, which like feels so pivotal in this moment.
Yeah, I mean, they've actually kind of been celebrating that they're getting a new expanded space where they can offer even more services, kind of all under one roof. But the fact that they can't just focus on those like more joyful services and this is becoming an increasing part of their work is dispiriting.
Yeah. And if you're worried about any of this, if you're thinking about it, if it has not yet touched you, It could at any moment. There are local municipalities, police departments that have signed on to work with ICE. So like they get the call anytime ICE is working in an area. We did a podcast not too long ago about how to spot ICE activity, like what it can look like if it's happening to you or your neighbor, or what to do if you think it's happening in your area. TLDR, please ensure your own safety first, but try to record if you think you can do so safely, and then get that information, any video, any photos, to people like Casa San Jose. Do not post it right away. They want to make sure that like they can verify the information, but that's helpful for them to be able to track this kind of activity. We also recorded this episode in Spanish if you think that might be helpful to you or someone in your life.
Yeah, we'll definitely include a link to both versions in the show notes. And if you also want to read reporting on all of this, Public Source has been doing a really great job trying to document these detentions too, particularly Quinn Glebicki, and they are also publishing these articles in Spanish as well. So we will make that available to you in our show notes too.
One of his latest reports has been like kind of going out with one of those rapid response teams, like when they get the call, like what that looks and feels like. So if volunteering is something that might be on your heart, like this is a way to get a glimpse of what that work might be like before making the call.
Yeah, and just a little more on what that rapid response team is and does. The idea is for people to really be bearing witness to these ICE encounters to document and defend the rights of our neighbors. So, for example, about 20 people were able to go out to the Emiliano's locations this weekend. As those raids were happening, Casa San Jose says it really helps to have people there. Here's a clip of Casa San Jose's Jaime Martinez. He's really been front and center bearing witness to a lot of these encounters this summer. So this got posted on Facebook right after these raids on Emiliano's.
Through that chaos, neighbors showed up. And we came not as lawyers or as police, but simply as neighbors. As people who believe that no one should be disappeared from their workplace without warning or witness. And at Casa San Jose, we're grounded in one truth. Every person, regardless of where they were born, deserves dignity. the dignity to work, to live, to be seen, to feed their families, and to be treated as someone who matters in this country. So when ICE raids our neighborhoods, we don't hide. We stand on sidewalks. We offer comfort. And with our rapid response network, we demand answers grounded in truth. You can too. Join us. Speak out. Protect each other. Because dignity is not a privilege. It's a right.
And like we said, Casa San Jose is really doing all of the work. They just have so many ways that you can tap in and try to help. You know, if you or someone you know has been detained, you may qualify for support through their bond program. So there's a few things, like you have to have lived in the U.S. for 2 years and reside in Western Pennsylvania. Even if that's not you, they said, do please get in touch. They may have other opportunities, other ways to help. They've been holding occasional mental health, like community meetings for people affected by these raids. So if you've been present, if you've been affected, if you were just worried and we're nowhere near there, that's okay. You can come by when they hold these. I don't see any on their calendar right now, but they just had one not long ago. So they bring in like bilingual therapists, and they have, you know, just opportunities to check in community, to process, to take care of each other. And then, of course, if you think you are witnessing ICE activity, they encourage you, please do try to document it. Send it to Casa San Jose. The emergency hotline, if you think you're seeing something, is 412-736-7167.
And then, of course, Emiliano's also has GoFundMes right now so that they can try to provide financial support to the families that have been affected by this raid. Because, you know, as they pointed out, these are parents that aren't coming home at night. These are families that have been
ripped apart.
Yeah, exactly.
And Tepache has one as well. We'll put all of that in our show notes. So one more thing to take you into the week, hopefully a smidge more uplifting. I read this piece, Mallory, in The Atlantic recently, bemoaning the loss of local events guides. No, it was specifically talking about New York City and music listings. It was a very good piece. I agree with a lot of it, but it also made me think that uniquely, I think Pittsburgh actually does this thing very, very well.
I would agree with you. It's something I really noticed when I first moved back here, that it was really easy to figure out what's happening, to like plan my whole weekend just by scrolling through a bunch of our local outlets.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Pittsburgh is smaller than New York. Like, we have fewer venues to go through to like check out what's there, fewer events overall. But like, still, it is still work. It is still labor to like put together those events guides. We can speak from experience here at CityCast Pittsburgh. But in my humble opinion, I think Pittsburgh really does like punch above our weight in like cultural opportunities, ways to get out and experience fun stuff. And anyway, I just wanted to shout out a few of our local outlets that are doing a great job of this. Just, you know, take an opportunity to give out some flowers. So we'll start with music, since that's what The Atlantic was fussing about. I think that you have got to be checking out WYEP. So WYEP.org. All local hosts, first of all local programming. They have an archive that literally goes back like 50 years. They do like celebrations of artists. They do local spotlights. They have whole like music hours that are curated to like Pittsburgh themes. It's just so fun and so creative. And I really love so many of the hosts there. Like Clara Kent is amazing. Rosemary Welsh is like a goddess. She's so incredible. She's been on the air for like, I think almost 40 years.
That's always a great host name.
I know. They're just, I can't say enough nice things, but their events section is truly phenomenal. Like I don't think they miss a single concert in Pittsburgh. Big and small, they've got you covered.
Of course, we've kind of got to shout out ourselves here, CityCast Pittsburgh. We love curating events for you. Hey Pittsburgh newsletter editor Francesca DeBecco is a maven at this. So if you're a CityCast Pittsburgh neighbor, you're part of our membership program, then you get a special email every Monday to help you plan your week. We really try to put in a mix of free events and ticketed ones, volunteer opportunities, crafting food, art, festivals, concerts, a little bit of everything. And then you can also tap into our free list at pittsburgh.citycast.fm/events. So I like to think that we're contributing to the scene here.
I feel like we've gotten so many notes from people, especially like either new to town or returning to town. And just like you, Mallory, they're like, I was really worried there wouldn't be enough stuff to do. But okay, now I see that I could not possibly attend everything that I would like to. So cool. This has given me a place to start from. Another place to look, I know it sounds like kind of analog a little bit to like check out local news sites, but I do think like slowly but surely a lot of our local organizations have kind of like upped their game. So like on Thursdays, I think a couple of them do it on Wednesday evenings. A bunch of local news websites are now posting things to do this weekend type of articles. So like Next Pittsburgh usually posts one. Pittsburgh Magazine does it. City Paper, I think they're one of the earlier ones on Wednesday. The Trib almost always has one. WESA does one. I mean, you know your vibe as like a person who consumes, news and information in the city. So like you can get a sense of maybe which outlet has you pegged. But it's really cool to like just tap into any of those. Like I said, on like a Thursday, midday, pretty much all of them are up. And you can see like what is happening and maybe what you might be into. I just like scrolling them because you also get a sense of the personality of the people putting them together.
Yeah, so I know we kind of started talking about how there's been a lot of bleakness in our region recently, but there's a lot to enjoy too. And so like props to all of the Pittsburgh outlets that are rounding that all up and trying to inject a little joy into everybody's lives.
Definitely. And one last note before you go, if you do enjoy our event curation and you want to help us out, we do have a quick favor. So CityCast is doing our annual listener survey, and it really helps us out when you take it. It's at citycast.fm/survey. It takes about 7 minutes total. If you're willing, you'll be eligible to win a $250 Visa gift card and a little bag of some CityCast swag. Again, citycast.fm/survey. And if this sounds familiar, if you think you took it last year, we so appreciate that, but please do it again because we can't use last year's data anymore, and it really helps us make shows that we think yins might care about.
Yes, and one more time, if you want that chance to win a gift card, get some swag, and help us out, that is citycast.fm/survey.
That is all for today here on CityCast Pittsburgh. If you are finding value in any of this, consider also voting for us in City Paper's Best of Pittsburgh contest. So we are up for Best Podcast. It's in the People and Places division. You can vote once per day per email address through next week. Please vote for CityCast Pittsburgh. We will be back tomorrow with more news from around the city. We'll talk to you soon. Curation. What did I say? Creation?
Creation, yeah.
Maybe it's both. Maybe it's both, Mallory.